Now, 1 John is an epistle written by the beloved disciple of Jesus Christ, John. And he's writing, we are told, to believers, not unbelievers. So when he warns them of being aware of sinning, it's a real concern. You see, there were people who were saying, your spirit is that part which is saved when you are saved and accept Jesus as Lord and Savior. However, your body, the physical part, doesn't matter. But that's not true. That's not what God says in His Word, and that's not what Jesus did as He walked the face of the earth. It says for us to, number one, beware of what we say, what we think, what we do. Because there are three parts to that process that we call salvation. There is the justification part, and that happens immediately upon your acceptance of Jesus as Savior. That's wonderful. You're saved. That means you're no longer facing hell. However, on this side, in this human body, we still are subject and prone to sin. And so the second part is sanctification. That's a long, drawn-out period that we will be in from the moment we accept Christ on to He calls us home. That period of time, we will sin. And we will need, as 1 John 1:9 says, to confess our sin, agree with God what we've done wrong, ask Him for forgiveness. And because God is who He is faithful and just to cleanse us, not just from the sin that we just remembered we did, but any other sin that we've done thus far. So we are now clean again. But this process must be repeated on and on again through our Christian walk here on this earth. The last part of salvation is is glorification. That's when we will finally be free of sin altogether. We will be with the Lord in heaven, and there will be no more chance, no more chance of us sinning. What can we say? John affirms that all believers and unbelievers will sin. But we, as believers, must walk as God has asked us to walk. Walk as God has demanded that we walk, so that we can be used by Him to bring others into the fold. Yes, we have that sin nature, but one day, we will be with God in glory. And that's kind of what we need to think about and focus on during this Lenten period. What Jesus did for us in showing us the way, how we should emulate Him to show others, is what we should be focusing on. We should be asking God to help us do, so that we will have a glorious time in the Lord and others can see the difference that God can make in us.